12 News at 4, I'm Tram Mai.
And I'm Troy Hayden. Less than an hour ago, detectives identified the man they say murdered a well-known pastor north of the valley. 76-year-old William Schoeneman was killed in New River.
The pastor was found dead in his home back in April. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly was at today's news conference and joins us live with the latest. Chase?
Tram, Troy, Sheriff Jerry Sheridan started today's press conference saying this is one of the most tragic and bizarre cases he's ever seen within his 40 years of law enforcement experience, telling us the motive behind this murder had everything to do with religion, and the suspect actually planned on killing more people. Now, let's take you back to how this all started. It was at the end of April when 76-year-old Bill Schoeneman was found murdered in his New River home. The sheriff's office says the suspect is 51-year-old Adam Schief, who actually traveled to Arizona and went to the New River Bible Church that Schoeneman was the pastor of. Deputies say Schief committed a burglary, stole a car, and then killed Pastor Bill. Deputies then say he drove up to Sedona, where he committed more crimes that eventually got him arrested.
Because of their involvement, probably saved some lives in apprehending this individual as quickly as they did.
We're told some of those other victims live here in Arizona. The sheriff's office says they have been in contact with them. But again, they said that Pastor Bill was randomly targeted, but the motive behind this had to deal with religion. We also learned that the suspect in this case has an extensive criminal history dating back. We've seen numbers or seen reports going back to 2018. Officials said that charges are pending, but he's currently not being held here in Phoenix, that he is still in Sedona being held, but it will be extradited here. Again, charges are pending. We'll be sure to keep you updated as we learn more. For now, we're live in Phoenix. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Yeah, I know that murder really shook up New River for sure. All right, Chase, thank you for the update here. We've also learned the identity of a man found dead in a front yard yesterday in Surprise. 53-year-old Sean Hernandez. His body was discovered in the front yard of a home near Bell and Dysart. The cause of the death is pending an autopsy. One person was arrested for unrelated charges.
Well, crews in Phoenix were able to save a construction worker after they got stuck in that trench today. Look at how big that is. It happened at a site near 64th Street and Mayo Boulevard. Firefighters used heavy equipment to help get that worker out of that trench. Luckily, he was okay and taken to the hospital in stable condition.
Video now of a cement truck losing control on US 60 happened near Val Vista Drive, and you can see it right there, causing multiple injuries. This happened yesterday. One of the workers at the scene, named Jordan Curtis, apparently rushed to the hospital with multiple broken bones, including a shattered wrist. He had to have surgery, according to his employer. Coming up at 5 o'clock, we'll hear from some of those workers who were nearly hit by that out-of-control dump truck. Yeah,
so frightening. Well, now to Gilbert, where a man is dead after he was shot by police. At about 6 o'clock last night, police were called to Lindsay and Guadalupe for reports of a man slumped over in a car. Gilbert police says that the man pulled out a weapon when officers approached the car. 2 officers fired, hitting the suspect. The suspect died at the scene. No officers were hurt.
Opening statements today in the case against a former Phoenix news anchor named Stephanie Hockridge. That's her in the dress, obviously. Trial happening in Fort Worth, Texas. She was a weeknight anchor on Channel 15 several years ago. She and her husband, Nathan Rice, face federal fraud charges accused of manipulation of COVID-19 relief funds up to the hundreds of millions of dollars. If convicted, the couple faces up to 20 years in prison on each individual count. They have pled not guilty. They're being tried separately. Rice's trial is expected to start in August.
We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled action upon our oaths, do find the defendant, Vallow Daybell, as to the crime of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder occurring on or about October 2nd, 2019, as follows. Guilty.
She hears that word again. Convicted child murderer Lori Vallow Daybell, convicted once again today here in Arizona. A jury convicted the so-called doomsday mom of conspiring to kill her niece's ex-husband. 12 News journalist Erica Stapleton in the courtroom when all this happened. All right, a quick verdict. I mean, very quick, Erica.
Yeah, Troy, it's believed this jury deliberated for less than 30 minutes. Lori Vallow Daybell sat slumped in her chair as the court clerk read that guilty verdict. And as you indicated, the third she's heard in the past 3 years. She was already convicted in Idaho for murdering her children, Tylee and JJ, and for her role in the death of Tammy Daybell, her current husband, Chad Daybell's first wife. Just a few weeks ago, she was convicted in a different Arizona case for conspiring to kill her former husband, Charles Vallow. Now, she's convicted of conspiring to kill Brandon Boudreau. Investigators believe Lori's brother shot at Boudreau back in 2019. Boudreau was not injured and actually took the stand to testify in this case. Lori Vallow Daybell represented herself and didn't present any evidence, but she did cross-examine witnesses, including the victim.
I have heard the question asked, why hold this trial? She already has multiple life sentences. My response is simple. We owe it to those who are victimized and choose to follow the law to uphold justice on their behalf. So many victims never get this day. So I thank the judge and the jury who willingly put their lives on hold to complete this process. I did not enjoy sitting and giving someone who tried to kill me the chance to question me, but I owed it to Charles, to Tylee, to JJ, and to Tammy to speak because I could.
Now, let's talk about conspiracy. In court, the state said Vallow Daybell's co-conspirators were not only her brother, Alex Cox, but her current husband, Chad Daybell, and her niece, Melanie Pulowski, who is Brandon Boudreau's ex-wife. Alex Cox died before charges were filed. Chad Daybell is on death row in Idaho, but not charged in the cases in Arizona. Melanie Pulowski also not charged, but in court we learned she's still part of an open investigation. The Maricopa County Attorney's Office said it hasn't received any submittals for Pulowski at this time. As for Lori Vallow Daybell, she's set to be sentenced for both of her Arizona murder conspiracy convictions in July. After that, she'll be extradited back to Idaho, where she'll spend the rest of her life in prison. Troy?
Yeah, 30 minutes for that jury. I'd be so interested to hear what happened in that room. You just kind of sit down and say, you know, one basically canvas of everybody, and then that's it, you're done? Did you try to talk with them today?
Well, we would have loved to have heard from the jury, Troy, but we were kept in the courtroom after the verdict was read. I say we as in the members of the media. The jury was released, and when we went outside to try and look for them, they were not where they typically were to get the bus. So it's believed that maybe we were kept from going after the jurors, like the last time she was convicted here in Arizona. We kind of went after them and asked them, you know, what did you know? Did you know about her past? Can you believe this? So it would be great to have a chance to, to interview them, to talk with them, but that was just not something we were able to do today.
Maybe that's something we can do going forward. All right, Erica, thank you. Tram?
So let's take a legal deep dive into this case. Criminal defense attorney Josh Colesrud of Colesrud Law Offices joins me now. You know, we talked about 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes for this jury to come to a decision. That's in contrast to the last trial that was about 3 hours, both of which are quick. This one was really quick, though. What did you make of that?
Well, you know, the verdict was quick because the defendant, Lori Vallow, she didn't put on a defense. You know, she did what she was supposed to do, at least halfway, which was poking holes in the government's theory of the case. But when it came to actually having a concrete defense, like blaming her brother Alex or blaming Melanie, which is called the third-party defense, she didn't do that. So when it was her turn to put on evidence, she just told the judge, we rest. So the jury really didn't have anything to consider other than what the prosecutor told the jury.
But doesn't that just go back to the fact that she wanted to represent herself? I mean, that right there, you know, is a weakness, and she can't, you know, deliver the same and be her own attorney without that experience.
Exactly. So in a case like this, which was winnable, you needed an experienced defense attorney to kind of take control and get the wins where you could. For example, you know, you don't want a defendant cross-examining a victim because it's going to seem personal no matter what happened. And so, I mean, that's what happened in this case. Also, there were a lot of different things about the evidence, the forensic evidence, for instance, like it was collected 30 days after the crime had been committed. There were problems with a plate reader, being that, you know, 10% of the time the plate reader is wrong. And, you know, Lori wasn't able to make those points, get out, and then blame Alex or Melanie. So because she didn't have the experience, you know, the prosecutor was able to take advantage of that.
So this is the third and final trial. 3 trials, 3 years. I mean, is this gonna be it?
Well, it's a lot, but yes, this is going to be it. And the reason why it's important, the reason why the Maricopa County and Rachel Mitchell went forward with this case was, number one, to give the victims justice, which they certainly deserve. But number two, Rachel Mitchell wants to protect the first verdict, which was in Idaho, and the second trial as well, because each one of those was a life sentence. And if they get overturned, what's going to happen? Well, with this third case, we know that she's going to spend the rest of her life in prison. So it was worth it because it's a safety net just in case the other cases are overturned.
Overall, looking back, what did you take from this?
Well, I would take that, justice is done regardless if the crime took place in another state or whether it's here. And Arizona will still go after you even if you already have life sentences. And that is a great message for victims.
All right, Josh, thank you so much for your expertise. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And make sure to stay with 12 News for continuing coverage on this trial. We'll have recap and analysis on Inside the Courtroom tonight at 8:30, exclusively streaming on 12+. Troy?
And coming up next, a U.S. Senator forced out of a Homeland Security press conference trying to get in questions about what's going on in California. We'll have that video. And the latest on the deadly Air India flight that crashed just after takeoff this morning, taking hundreds of lives. Protests are continuing across the country.
And as Washington readies for President Trump's military parade, lawmakers from both parties question the optics of the event and its hefty price tag. Mark Curtis joins us live right now from the newsroom with more. Mark?
Hi, Tram. Across the country, thousands are turning out to protest those ICE deportation raids, with hundreds leaving in handcuffs. Overnight, demonstrations turned violent in Washington state, police using flashbangs to disperse the crowd. The protests, which began in Los Angeles, now spreading coast to coast. President Trump defending his call to send in Marines and National Guard to California.
If I see problems brewing, if they're not going to do the problem, I'm not going to wait 2 weeks.
The debate over the president's hardline immigration policies boiling over on Capitol Hill. Today, Democratic governors from states with sanctuary cities sparring with lawmakers on how they're managing an influx of undocumented migrants. Republicans going after their own state leaders.
We deserve a governor who stands up for law-abiding New Yorkers.
Rather than going after the viral moment, I suggest you look at the facts.
The show of force in cities across the country happening as the nation's capital prepares for a military parade to mark the Army's 250th birthday and the president's 79th. Tanks are staged along the parade route, and today the Army showed off some of its air power. Several protests are planned throughout the area, and the president warned that any protesters at the parade will face a, quote, very heavy force. But organizers say they will not be intimidated.
We will be permitted, we will be nonviolent, we will not be provoked, but we will be in the streets, we will be marching, and we will be heard.
And now even some Republicans are questioning the optics of the parade and the price tag, with an estimated $45 million, the cost of that parade. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senator John Thune will not attend the parade, both saying they have conflicts. Guys?
All right, Mark, thank you. There's going to be a lot going on Saturday. Here in the Valley as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Right? So with several planned protests are happening in Arizona on Saturday morning.
12 News will bring you live coverage of the demonstrations during a special edition of Today in AZ, streaming on 12 Plus starting at 9 a.m. So download the 12 Plus app right now to watch for free.
Yeah, and I'm going to be out there at the Capitol at 9 a.m. Reporting on that, and hopefully things stay peaceful.
Yeah.
Right? California Senator Alex Padilla forcibly removed from a news conference in L.A. today. He was physically pushed out of the room after trying to question Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Noem was in L.A. to address the ongoing demonstrations protesting the immigration policies of the Trump administration. Padilla's office shared the video with NBC News. You can see him being taken to a nearby hallway and then eventually kind of pushed down. I don't see him being pushed down on the ground, but apparently, oh, there he is right there. Yeah, put down on the ground. So again, this is a U.S. Senator. Padilla's office said in a statement that he was in L.A. to perform congressional oversight of the government's operations in the city and across the state. But that's kind of where we've gotten to these days.
A little jarring.
Yeah.
Well, the judge overseeing Harvey Weinstein's criminal trial declared a mistrial on a rape charge against him after one of the jurors refused to continue deliberations. The mistrial came a day after the jury convicted Weinstein on a separate sex abuse charge. It also acquitted him on a different sex abuse charge. Weinstein faced a retrial that began in April after New York State Appeals Court overturned his 2020 conviction last year. The 73-year-old pleaded not guilty and has denied assaulting anyone or having non-consensual sex.
Well, chances are you just watched part of our monsoon special, and they are dealing with those exact conditions in San Antonio, Texas. 4 people died in flooding, 2 victims, 2 men, and 2 women, and several people are still missing. Look at that flooded out wash and the upturned cars, overturned cars. The fire department said there have been dozens of water rescues since last night. San Antonio got more than 5.5 inches of rain just after midnight. So today now stands as the city's second wettest day ever in the month of June.
Wow, that is just incredible. And look how deep that water is and how swift it is. All right, Lindsay Riley now joining us with our weather impact forecast. We're not dealing with the floods yet, and technically monsoon season starts this Sunday, right, for us?
Yes.
Yeah, but we are dealing with extreme heat this weekend.
Yeah, and actually the heat, what we typically see during the month of June, is what helps get that high in place up across the 4 corners and the low near the Baja Peninsula, and that in turn helps us get more humid conditions and add some fuel for the storms that typically begin to brew during the month of July and August. But for now, June is ringing true to what we typically see. We have our first extreme heat warning of the year. This begins Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and it extends through Monday. So 3 days of extreme heat coming our way in time for Father's Day weekend. As far as records, by Sunday, we're within 1 degree of a record high. We'll see our first 110 of the year on Saturday, our first 110 of the year Sunday, and near record highs. And then Monday, 112 degrees. Father's Day will be hot all across the state. Even areas like Payson, 98 degrees in Payson on Father's Day. The White Mountains in the mid-90s, close to 90 in Flagstaff. And this heat, it's clicking in and it's sticking around. This is our chances that this extreme heat will continue into the subsequent weekend, June 20th and 21st. That means temperatures above 110 degrees. We're at 106 right now. So far, the high out at Sky Harbor was 107 today. Tomorrow, we'll hit 108. As you can see, sunshine all across the state. 98 degrees in Globe, 108 out toward Lake Havasu. All is quiet on the satellite and radar. High pressure anchoring in for the foreseeable future, keeping us hot, dry and sunny. As you can see here, a 0% chance for rain for the next 7 days. It's all about the sunshine and heat. Our Flagstaff 7-day, lots of days in the upper 80s, well above the average. And here in the valley, we have 3 weather impact alert days for the extreme heat warning taking place Saturday, Sunday and Monday. Tram.
All right, Lindsay, thank you. We've got more news headed your way, including a flight from India to London that crashed just after takeoff, killing all but 1 person on board.
And a big warning about a new scam being sent to your phone and your email that's asking you if you've paid a parking ticket. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have more.
12 News continues 24/7 on 12 Plus, where you can watch any newscasts and other 12 News content whenever you want.
12 Plus is the streaming home of everything we do on 12 News, and it's on demand. So download it on your TV and watch it for free. Moment a plane, an Air India passenger jet, crashes in Ahmedabad in India. The crash killing more than 240. Look at the fireball too. 200, and it doesn't look like the plane's on fire or has a problem. It's just like it just can't get altitude for whatever reason. 240 people on that plane, killed other people on the ground. A single passenger survived that fiery crash. Not clear what caused that plane to go down.
It is one of India's worst airline disasters in decades. NBC's Matt Bodner reports from London.
Thank you. Well, really an astonishingly positive development in this deeply tragic story. Indian media and our international partner Sky News have confirmed that there is one accounted for survivor at this time. He is a British national, a man. We believe that he's about 40 years old, and Sky is reporting that his name is Vishwar Kumar Ramesh. They spoke to his family. They say that they have another family member who they believe was aboard that flight that they have not yet heard from. The Hindustan Times, meanwhile, has spoken to a man of the same name, of the same age, who had a ticket in that name, and quote him as saying, quote, 30 seconds after takeoff, there was a loud noise and then the plane crashed. It all happened so quickly. The newspaper says that he is being treated now for injuries sustained to his chest, eyes, and feet. Now, I think his account of what happened, of course, is going to be very important in the hours, days, weeks moving forward as the official investigation starts to look at what happened here today and share some of its findings. As things stand, we have heard nothing official from investigators, though aviation experts working with NBC News, as well as commenting elsewhere, have started to hone in potentially on signs seen in some of the videos of the crash that would indicate that the plane was not flying normally for that stage of flight, for that flight regime, so to speak, leading to some speculation the flaps were not fully deployed, which could have led to this crash, though it is important to emphasize there is no official information at this time suggesting any cause one way or another. Matt Bodner, NBC News, London.
Well, apparently there's a new text scam being sent out. These messages claim to be from government agencies asking for money or personal details, but it's fake. According to Attorney General Chris Mays, scammers often pretend to be from ADOT or fictional groups like the Arizona Ministry of Communications, claiming that you have an outstanding traffic ticket. I actually got one of these. It's kind of alarming. Officials stress.
Traffic ticket?
Yeah, no, not the well, that too, no. But the text, it seems very real.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
Just trying to clear things up.
No. But May says this is not real. Officials are stressing that real government agencies, they will not text or email you for money or gift card payments. You always need to ignore these types of messages and report those scams to Mays' office or the FTC.
There's also a few recalls you need to know about. First, more than 1 million power banks from Anchor Innovations Limited are being recalled. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says there is a problem with the batteries that can cause these to overheat and possibly burn you. There have been 19 reports even of explosions and fires, and there have been a few injuries. So the recall applies to the A1263 model. You see a picture of it here on your screen. The power banks were sold online from 2016 through 2022. Contact Anchor for a replacement. TTI Outdoor Power Equipment has recalled roughly 113,000 hedge trimmers because they're a laceration or a cutting hazard. The recall covers Ryobi 40-volt, 24-inch cordless trimmers. Officials say the blade can unexpectedly activate after the user presses the safety or trigger control. There have been 27 reports of that blade activating, 16 reports of injuries. The trimmers sold at Home Depot and Direct Tools factory outlet stores nationwide. They should be returned to TTI for a free replacement.
And I'm Kevin Cox. Coming up next in sports, we welcome back Calais Campbell. What is he saying being back on the field with the Cardinals? By the way, today the last day for the Bird Gang for training camp in late July.
Out on the roadways, we are taking you out to the West Valley right now, where we have a crash. This is blocking the entry ramp on I-10 westbound and 83rd Avenue. Traffic slow in that area. Then up north along the 101 loop westbound, there is a crash at 7th Street and some volume out on I-17 northbound from the I-10 all the way up to Northern Avenue.
Time now to talk the top sports story of the day with Cam.
What's going on, guys? You ready for summer vacation?
We're already in it.
Do we get that as like adults? No?
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Remember when summer vacations lasted like a whole year?
I know.
You're a little kid.
Yeah, you were like, oh, this is forever. Right? We're never going back to school. I'm sure some of the Cardinals feel that way too as well. They get about a month and a half off before, it's probably a little less than that, like 5 weeks off before training camp. Today, the final day of mandatory minicamp. Ready? It's time to break for summer. Last day of practice for the Cardinals. Next time we see the team, they'll be back together for training camp at the end of July. Guys, it is great seeing Calais Campbell back on the field in a Cardinals jersey, rocking that signature 93. Get this, he is older than every coach on the roster, except head coach Jonathan Gannon, right? Wow. His 18th season is loaded, going to turn 39 in September, so not really that old, right? But he's as durable as they come. He's only missed 15 games his entire career. Being back at AZ, he admits it. It's a little emotional.
Obviously, being out in the community and seeing the fans and how much just how happy they are to have me back. That also means a lot to me. I never really wanted to retire anywhere or sign a contract or do anything like that. I just was going to ride off in the sunset. Kind of pull like a Larry Fitzgerald type thing. So it's cool to have a chance to come back and go out there and I see us throwing the ball around and playing a little football and say, okay, we look pretty good, And I think that everything is on the table for us.
Calais doesn't scare me. No, I try to keep a friendly relationship with Calais just because obviously he's a gargantuous. He's a big dude. So he's usually nice to me on the field. So that's always I've always appreciated that. But no, I'm glad he's back. Glad he's back.
Listen, I'd want to be friends with Calais too. Like that's a big guy. Don't make him angry, right?
I played hoops with him when he was a rookie.
Oh.
Yeah. No, and Fitzgerald was playing too, right, at that time?
Yep.
And it was so funny because, he was huge. He's dominated inside the paint. Sure. But every time Larry Fitzgerald would drive the lane, everybody just get out of his way.
Get out of his way, sure, yeah. No one. And also, if Calais is going to the hoop too as well, look at him next to Jonathan Gannon there in practice. Get out. The cool thing was Calais is really not busy during minicamp. He's done it for so long. But I do like seeing all the video of him talking to all the guys, the veterans, the young guys, picking their brain. When you've done it as long as him, it's important to be like a mentor to all these guys, right?
So seasoned.
Real quick, Father's Day plans? Busy? Real quick.
Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Okay, well, we got.
I get phone calls from the wayward kid.
There we go. Well, we got a chance to ask Calais. He had the perfect answer. Listen.
My friend Grady Jarrett's getting married on Saturday, so I'll be at his wedding on Saturday. So Sunday, we'll see how it's off season, so I probably will be a little hungover.
That's his dads want to do. They just want to sit there and be a little hungover.
Watch the U.S. Open.
Yeah, watch on
NBC.
Right here on 12.
Yeah.
It's great golf today, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah. All right, thank you, Cam. All right, let's talk weather. One thing, you probably do want to either be inside on Sunday or in the pool, Lindsay, right?
Absolutely, yes, especially during the hottest part of the day. Mid-afternoon, we're talking a high of around 114 on Sunday, so it is going to be brutally hot. That will be the hottest day of the year so far. We've been upgraded from a watch to a warning. This is our first extreme heat warning. It begins at 10 a.m. Saturday all the way through 8 p.m. on Monday for the lower deserts. Temperatures 110 to 114 in many locations. Here's our Friday forecast: 86 at the Grand Canyon, 98 in Globe, and we're even going to be in the 90s along the rim and mid-90s in Sedona. Here's where we're headed for the next 7 days. Our first 110 of the year Saturday, our first 110 of the year Sunday. That's within 1 degree of a record, and we're back in the 110 range again late next week and into the subsequent weekend. As far as rainfall, June typically the driest month, although we started off very well this year with 45/100ths of an inch, so we have a surplus for the month of June, sitting at the 7th wettest right now. But when it comes to the drought, notice this is last week's drought monitor. A lot of Arizona in the red here. That's considered extreme, but because of that early rainfall that we had the first week of June, a lot of that extreme drought has been alleviated out toward western Arizona, so that did help us out. Nonetheless, we are looking at the drought to persist. This is the forecast through the end of August. It includes all of Arizona. As of today, we are 3 days away from the start of monsoon 2025. It begins this weekend. When it comes to the monsoon season, it is characterized by a wind shift. It starts off with the heat during the month of June, and then July and August, we get stormy and a little bit more humid. The chances for rain go up. We go from just 0.02 of an inch of rain on average during June into about 0.9 of an inch during the months of July and August. And July and August are typically, on average, our wettest months of the year. So that is some good news. We see about 1/3 of our average annual rainfall during the monsoon season. So we'll be entering that in just a few days. Here's a look at our Flagstaff 7-day. Daily highs are in the 80s, peaking on Father's Day on Sunday at 89. And due to our extreme heat warning, we have 3 days of weather impact alert days due to the high and dangerous heat. Tram?
All right, Lindsay, thank you. Straight ahead, the heartbreaking story of survival behind this sweet mama dog and her 9 pups. We'll explain what happened coming up.
Got an interesting look, doesn't she?
Yeah. The Arizona Humane Society says that they saved a mother dog and 9 puppies from the heat last month, and now they're getting ready to adopt all of them out.
Top News journalist William Pitts has more.
How can anyone not love this face? Or this one? Or this one? Or any of the others in a litter of 9 puppies currently living at Emily Klein's house? How hard is it going to be to let them go?
Oh, so hard. Yeah, I'm not sure if one's going to stay here or not. We'll find out.
How they got here involves a hot day and hair dye.
Come on, everybody. Go see Mama. I don't know if it was like a joke or...
Someone dyed the fur on the puppy's mom to look like a leopard, I guess. It doesn't look like it was a joke or mean-spirited. There's a heart on her forehead. But what happened to her at the end of May was anything but loving.
She had no access to water, and when they did a thermogun on the pavement she was on, it was approximately 133 degrees.
The Humane Society is calling her Rainbow Bright after the multicolored spots. They found her tied up outside somewhere in Laveen in the sun. She already had the 9 puppies, who were only a week or 2 old at that point. The Humane Society says she was underweight. Her body temperature was 105 after getting her in the air conditioning. The Humane Society gives owners a choice: give them up, or they call the cops. Now they live with Emily.
It was a very dangerous situation for all 10 of these dogs, and it definitely could have gone a different direction.
She's very skinny, very scared. She's still skinny, we're working on that, but very scared.
The name Rainbow Bright probably won't stick around after she's adopted, but she's doing better, even though she could still put on a few pounds.
She is just the most loving dog, loves to cuddle, loves to be around you. She's a big couch potato.
And all 9 puppies survived the heat and rehab. In a couple weeks, they'll be available to adopt.
I wish they could stay this age forever. They're adorable, they're fun, but their teeth are starting to come in and they're getting a little crazy.
Just remember, they're going to get bigger. William Pitts, 12 News.
Williams putting the preface, don't forget, they grow a lot bigger, but they are so adorable.
Yeah, I'm glad they're okay. We'll be right back with more 12 News at 4. Stay with us.
Don't forget 12 Plus is the streaming home of 12 News and the place to go for breaking news, weather, investigations, and extended coverage of the top stories of the day. So download the 12 Plus streaming app. Well, meet Teddy and Cinnamon, these 2 guinea pigs. How cute are they? They are from Buckeye. Oh my gosh, the hats. Their relationship has gone viral on TikTok. You clearly see why. Their owner, Marshayla Troop, has documented their lives, including the birth of their 4 kids. They even had gender reveals and baby showers.
Goodness.
Good Lord.
I thought you were an animal lover, Troy.
Their relationship.
Guinea pigs? Yeah, all right.
Look at their kids. Don't make fun of their kids. Okay.
I love it because, you know, I get to share with the world, you know, just what my guinea pigs do every day and what I do for them. You know, I go over the top, probably too much, but I mean, I love them so much.
You're jealous they're being fanned and you're not.
I am
impressed though with the detail of all those little the outfits. The cake. There's a lot of detail that goes into that.
No, what is that? A strawberry?
It looks like it looks like a.
They're munching on it, for sure.
It's good.
And everybody says, "Oh, you got to get on TikTok." I can't believe I'm missing that kind of content.
That's what you're missing.
They're watching them and not you on TikTok. There you go.
Very true.
That is true.
What's coming up at 5?
All right, guys, here's what we're working on for 12 News at 5. First, several police chases are under review after a Valley chief found potential deficiencies in how they're handled. Plus, a roadside worker has several broken bones after a cement truck lost control and plowed into him. And new details in the murder of a New River pastor, why detectives say his murder was religious in nature. We'll have those stories and more coming up right now.